Welcome back to Man I'm Crossing New Horizons. I'm dear darling. Should we see what's going on our lovely island of Fawnhollow today? Well, I hope you're all having a lovely time. I don't know, doing something. I'm trying to think of something that's been happening recently in like the news or whatever. I know, like Love Island. I literally no idea what's going on in Love Island. I'm going to be honest, but it seems to be on the front page of Reddit quite often. Cotton Lamb already talked about that. There's like a new D&D book which got released to put to like meh reviews or something. I don't really remember. Come on, let's try and get some more positive notes in here. Why am I thinking of things which are so... I'm being so negative about it in the first place, but I don't know. We'll see where conversation we get led to. Hello everyone. Right now in Fawnhallow, it's 5:12 PM on Wednesday, August 17th, 2022. We have Crazy Red visiting. We're going to talk about, and I talked about a little bit before about making a VTuber-esque model, which I finally got around to. I will say it's not done, but I've done all the liner and done all the colours and split everything up into its proper parts. Now I just need to shade everything, and then the final step will be, of course, to rig everything up, which is, it's kind of equal parts intimidating and exciting, I suppose, at the same time. Because whenever you do any sort of project, I suppose that's always how things are. It's equal parts intimidating because you're just like, whoa, this is a lot to do, and then equal parts exciting because you're like, look at this cool thing I'll hopefully have at the end of it. That's just sort of like what learning any sort of new skill or any new experience really goes like. So it's a sort of like path of course of human life. If I'm going to talk about it in the strangest way possible. Yeah, and well, luckily I suppose it's a good thing. If anything, I didn't start like a year ago or 2 years ago, whenever I started first hearing about like people doing these sort of like VTuber model-esque things, because there probably wasn't nearly as much many resources or whatever online. At least I remember when I first talked about it, like I only found like a couple of tutorials, maybe like 2 or 3 tutorials or something. And I looked more recently, and I've had so many like really specific tutorials about certain things. Like I was I should post a teaser of it at some point, and I completely forgot to do that, I'm going to be honest. But I was doing it myself, and I was like trying to figure out how the eye works. I was like, I don't know how many parts of this I need to like split the eye into, and I don't know how to make things like clip together or whatnot. I was like, can I make things like clip to the eyes? Like, how do I make what do I do about makeup as well, because it needs to like sort of warp and distort. And then I just like looked up a load of different whatchamacallits. I looked up a load of different like tutorials, and I was like, oh, turns out they got all the answers. So there you go. It's a very useful thing. It was like a specific video I watched specifically just about the eye, and I was like, whoa, that's pretty useful. And I was like, oh, this eye seems like kind of an intimidating thing. I don't know, can you clip things in rigs? And there's it in the rigging program, like can you use things as a clipping mask, which basically just sort of restricts the area things can move around in. And I was like, I don't know if that's even a possibility. Look it up, specific tutorial literally just for that. And I was like, wow, it was amazing. I was like, oh, what about if I want to do different expressions, that sort of thing? Wow, there's a whole tutorial, there's a whole slew of different tutorials using different programs about to allow different expressions to come into play. And I was like, all right then. So hopefully this ends up being a little bit of a modular project. Well, I'm going to get the base stuff done, and then, I'm going to add more things, maybe different outfits, maybe different expressions as time goes on. We'll sort of see how things go, and I don't really know, so it's long short, but it'll be fun, hopefully. Sorry, having a sip of water. It was meant to rain today here in the UK, but it hasn't, well, I mean, it probably rained in some parts of the UK, but at least not where I live was there actually any rain, which is a bit surprising because, we've been missing out on a bit of rain for quite some time now, going in the tail end of summer. As we sort of head into September, where where theoretically it's meant to be much more of an autumnal season, but of course, if last year's anything to go by, it's still reasonably quite warm. That's not really the most interesting thing to talk about. What else should we talk about? I'm not sure, but this is where you hop to Reddit and you start seeing like, oh, what sort of things about which are kind of interesting to talk about. One Shot World Machine Edition. What on earth? I didn't know there was going to be a follow-up of One Shot. That's pretty cool, One Shot was a rather popular Let's Play at the end. I'm very grateful, had to correct. Nico, reach out, player, are you there? Oh my word. Is this just like a definitive edition or something? New features and content. Who knows? Well, that's pretty exciting. Am I going to play it? Probably not. At some point, I should do like a mini series of like replaying all the games which got like small content updates since I last played it. If I imagine with One Shot, it's going to be a bit harder because I'd imagine you have to play through the entire game again. I'm not really too keen on doing that. So it's sort of like therein lies a lot of a problem. But you know, I could revisit Bug Fables, see new content, because that I think continues on from any sort of save file. Spirit Fair as well. They've got like 2 or 3 new people that you can meet. I don't really remember off the top of my head. Yeah, I don't really know what else to talk about. That's not very exciting. Should we talk about something just entirely theoretical, just like, you know, like a thought process? Thought process? No, a thought experiment. I can't really think of a thought experiment off the top of my head that's particularly interesting. I don't think I've consumed anything which has been particularly interesting. Well, okay, no, the thing's been interesting, but like I don't really know what to talk about. Regarding them, what have I watched recently? Or played recently? Nothing particularly like dynamic. There's gotta be something, you know. That's why you just go through Reddit over and over again just to see what's going on. League of Legends minigames? I don't really know what's going on about that. No, I don't know. Sporkle crosswords. I did a bit of crosswords yesterday with a few of my friends. Which basically is it just kind of like late at night, you know, just kind of like a while before, not a while, just a little bit before everyone goes to bed. And then you know, I just like started being like, hey, you want to watch me do some crosswords? And we're like, sure. And I just did crosswords. And then yeah, they got a few clues here and there. To be fair, like most of them. Well, I don't think any of them really do crosswords on the regular, and to be fair, I only really do the ones on dictionary.com, as I always mention. And I don't know, I guess that was kind of exciting. So kind of low-key, sort of just like slice of life sort of business, just being like, oh, you know, just like the little collaborative crossword with some people. It's always really nice. I don't really know. Did the Spiral Abyss yesterday in Genshin Impact. Did it with a friend, where we swapped teams. Kind of. Not swapped accounts. We basically gave each other the teams we used last time to do the Abyss in, but of course we had to make substitutions because we don't all have the same characters. That was quite fun. It was a lot worse for her than it was for me, I'm gonna be honest, but yeah, I don't really remember what I was saying. I don't really know what I was saying, I'm gonna be perfectly honest. You know? It's amazing how long I've kept the conversation going without like having a conversation to even go on in the first place. I'm just sort of just randomly spouting nonsense, which is a newfound ability I certainly have, you know, to just be able to sort of freely talk without any sort of structure, without having as any sort of prompt before. And I don't know, it's kind of like a public speaking sort of environment, isn't it? Like you've thrown me up, not you thrown me up, I thrown myself up into like some sort of comedic stage, being like, well, now I've got like an entire crowd to like entertain for the next half an hour or something, but except I have no like pre-prepared material, I just sort of got to improvise it as best I can. It's, you know, well, it's certainly something, is all I can really say. Not the easiest thing to do. I don't think improv is particularly in my skill set. And that's probably like of no surprise to, well, really anyone. I mean, improv is very much a sort of learned sort of skill, isn't it? Yes-anding and then continuing on whatever sort of dramatic conversation that people are having. I'm not going to say it's particularly important to have, but it's sort of like a nice skill to have, isn't it? Being able to carry any sort of conversation with relative ease. If we were, you know, trying to frame it as the Donkey Kong rap for really no reason. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's just sort of nice time to have a little bit of reflections, to be like, oh, you know, to think about, like, you know, young dear darling, well, not really that much younger dear darling. I suppose at the age you sort of get a bit more blurred together as you get older, being like, oh, you know, this is initially when she first started out, being like, trying to talk for half an hour, and it was just, you know, I'm not gonna say it was like a dumpster fire or anything. I think it's a bit harsh, but it was like, you know, could have been a lot better. Not many particularly interesting things. Oh, hold on, actually paying attention to a speech here. I was going to buy some flowers for a friend. It was like, hold on, very much drama or something. But I didn't want to send the wrong impression, you know. The wrong colour or arrangement could be disastrous. I can literally change the course of our friendship. Or not, but just flowers, right? Haha, sometimes I need to say it out loud to check myself. Well, ain't that the truth, Raymond? Well, I mean, there's a certain degree of, like, flower language which actually sort of permeates the underlying rules of flower gift giving. And you know what's even strange is the fact that the flower language is different between, like, well, I assume between all sorts of different cultures, because I know in Western world there's a flower language, but I know in Japanese they have what's it called, hanakotoba, something like that, which is like flower words, which is basically the language of flowers in Japanese, which I don't know, that sort of symbolism comes off quite often. And I mean, certainly there are some like shared similarities between them. There's like roses, which always tend to like show love or any some sort of commitment, something to do with relationships. Lilies and always tend to be some sort of form of purity or whatever. I don't know if I talked about flower language before. Let's see, flower. Have I talked about flower language? Flowery conversations. No, okay. Well, let's talk a bit about flower language and that sort of thing. I'm trying to think of ones I know off the top of my head because I did some for like because I image flowers are kind of. What am I doing? Yeah, I don't know. Sell these two things and who knows what we're doing. It's a very common thing, or not a very common thing. It's sort of like a thing for characters, you know, as you might see in like their personality bio, you know, along with like their blood type and the horoscope. It's sort of like a meaningless thing in the end, but it's a little bit of fun, I would say. So of course, like my own characters, I think about them being like what sort of flowers represent them. So what can I remember? And forget-me-nots is obviously about remembrance. I remember this is completely irrelevant to the entire conversation, but there was a grade 1 piece I learned for piano called Forget-Me-Not, and it was one of my favourite ones. I don't remember how it went. I don't know if we still have that book or anything, but hey ho. Yeah, so obviously Forget-Me-Not's all about remembrance. You know, Forget-Me-Not is sort of like you know, kind of like directly written into the name. You would say it's quite an obvious thing, and I suppose it kind of is. What else is there? Sunflowers. I think it's meant to be like bright happiness and cheerfulness, isn't it? Because sunflowers always grow facing the sun or whatever. Which actually, now I think about it, how does that make any sense? Why do sunflowers face the sun? Like, I understand if the leaves would face the sun, but it's not like a flower head itself does any photosynthesis. We don't even need to check cable sisters anymore because we've actually got the bow yesterday that we need. What's the saying? Yeah, I mean, I never really thought about that because sunflowers, it's the thing about sunflowers is they grow, they face the sun. That's kind of like what people always say about them. But like, why do they face the sun? Because it's, you know, you face the sun to get like better surface area, I suppose, coverage for photosynthesis, I'd imagine. But photosynthesis happens in the leaves, right? Because that's like where the chlorophyll is. Unless it's different in sunflowers. And maybe in sunflowers it's actually in the petals or something, which is wild. I don't really know. I don't really know how to make this, so sorry, Apollo. What is there? Lily of the Valleys? I think that's to do with something like purity and trust. I can't really remember off the top of my head. I mean, I'm sure that's probably the reason why in Animal Crossing it's a thing which only appears when you, whatchamacallit? 5-star your town, you know? It's sort of just like purity, being like, oh, look how pure your, like, town is, from like an environmental standpoint, you know, rather than no. I don't know what other sort of standpoint you would say it from, but you know, being like, oh look, you can see how pure you are. I don't know how to phrase this, you know, because like 5-star town in Animal Crossing is all about, you know, having it being environmentally friendly and like I know the social well-being, not upbeing, that's not a word, of your town like blooming, if anything, right? Anyway, I don't remember if that's actually what Lily of Valleys means, and I think trust is one of them. Something about like happiness coming back and returning. I don't really remember off the top of my head. I know it was poppies. Well, I don't know, because poppies quite famously, I think, in the UK is more of a symbol of like remembrance of wartime. Because in Remembrance Day, which is, I assume, the British equivalent of Veterans Day in America or whatever, it's quite customary to wear a poppy. Of course, most people don't actually like have the actual flower poppies to wear because people don't grow poppies most of the time. And I don't think it's normally a flower choice, mainly because the flowers are like the seeds are poisonous or something, right? But I'm trying to remember the story behind it because poppies are always basically used, especially in poetry, as I learned from English literature, to do some sort of representation for like conflict and wartime. I think it was something just like after on like battlefields where like battles have happened, like poppies would always like spring up afterwards. I don't particularly know why that would be the case, but maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Don't particularly quote me on that because I'm not an expert. I just know what they represent. I don't really know, you know, I haven't really read too much further into it. But yeah, like if you don't know, in the UK it's very common on 11th of November, which is Remembrance Day. Before that day actually comes around, you like donate a little bit of money to charity, and you get like a paper or plastic poppy, which you know you pinned to your top or whatever, and you wear it, like, at least on that day. You can wear it on other days. It's a very common thing, at least during school time in British schools, especially primary school and secondary school, that, you know, some of the older kids and students will go around collecting money for charity and selling poppies to people, and everyone like brings in like a £1 coin, like donates it. Well, I don't know, I feel like the amount that you bring in has changed over years, because I swear I remember in primary school it used to be like 20p, but by the time I was in sixth form it was like, you know, anywhere from like £2 to £5 or something, or £1 to £5, which is, you know, I don't know. I suppose it's a combination of like, as you get older, you're more likely to, you know, have access to more money, or, you know, it's sort of like a. I'm trying to think what else. What I was going to say, like inflation, but, you know, I don't think inflation's quite that sort of volatile. I don't think it went up 500% in the past like 10 years, but who knows? Yeah. So you wear like a poppy on your chest. I should really be talking about like a song Remembrance Day itself rather than, but, you know, I guess you can have like a bit of a forewarning before it comes. Okay, what other ground missions do we got? I think we customize, exercise, deep sea diving. We could do a bit of deep sea diving. We haven't done that for a while. Yeah, so poppy. It's strange because in UK sort of flower language, I don't know if UK flower language is different necessarily from like American flower language. I'm going to be honest. That's something I haven't particularly considered before, but maybe it is. But it's meant to do with like remembrance and that sort of thing. Maybe it's like peacetime after wartime. I don't really remember off the top of my head. It's something like that. Or Scallop, so we can talk to Pascal again, who we haven't spoken to for ages. What sort of flowers are there? I can't remember what flower it is. Maybe it's like gladiolus or something, which is meant to be like inner strength, or like inner courage. Something about like holding strong even in tough times. I don't remember. Roses I already talked about being like love, romance, something, I don't know. But different colours of roses are meant to be different things. Isn't it like white is meant to be like pure love or like a promise? Or is it, and then yellow rose is meant to be like a friendship? I don't really remember. Everything changes. Bro, everything changes. Sometimes it's scary, sometimes it's a relief, and sometimes it means dinner's ready. There we go, I'm actually reading out some of the New Horizon Village lines again. I think hyacinth is something to do about like forgiveness. But it's also, it can be like a negative connotation as well. Okay, it's something like, it's like a blue one or a purple one, I can't remember, can represent like sorrow or like sadness in some way. It's meant to be like a bad omen. Or maybe not a bad omen necessarily, but it's not meant to be like, oh, you know, like sunshines and roses. Which of course, you know, represent love. I don't remember what, like, I remember flower, Strietzler was another one I looked into. Don't remember what it means. Yeah, it's completely gone from memory. I'm going to guess it's something about like extravagance and pride or something like that. I don't know. Being proud of yourself. That's a guess. Don't know if it's true. Oh, we're meant to do more deep sea diving. We didn't even get to other things. And final one I remember I looked into was hydrangeas. Because isn't it also hydrangea? Or maybe I'm getting confused between hydrangeas and hyacinths. One of the two has like a more negative connotation, and I can't remember which one it is. I know hydrangeas can also mean something about like understanding, or I don't know, it was giving thanks. That was it. It was about a time you're like meant to give them as like a thank you gift or something for someone who has done a great service to you. I can't remember. You know, instead of just sort of guessing them, I probably should have just like looked it up in the first place. But you know, who's counting? All right, let's look it up now. Flower language, because I remember when I looked at it, there was like a whole, here we go, language of flowers. It's a Wikipedia article on the entire thing. There was like a list of them. And flowers and art. Hanakotoba, yeah, there's a Japanese one. No, where's the list of it? Flower meanings. Flower language. Wikipedia. Plant symbolism. Okay, well, fair enough. Asparagus foliage. What? What? What does he mean? New symbols have also arisen. One of the most known ones in the United Kingdom is a red poppy as a symbol of remembrance before the fallen of the war. There you go. I completely failed at sort of saying that sentence, but hopefully you understood what I said. I don't know what this is. I don't know why these ones are at the top. Like asparagus foliage is for fascination in Europe, bamboo, longevity, strength and grace in China. Mistletoes signify a meeting place for druids, where no violence can take place. I don't even know a lot of these flowers. Acacia flowers. Secret love and elegance. Acanthus? I don't know what it is. I'll just keep reading until I see a flower I know. Aloe? Grief. Like aloe vera is for grief. If anything, I feel like aloe vera should be like soothing, because, you know, like, you use aloe... Well, hold on. Is aloe vera and aloe different? Well, I guess aloe vera is like specifically the sort of like leafy part of the plant. I don't really know. But anyway, like aloe vera is used for like burn soothing or something like that. In fact, it's, well, I guess it's, you know, the fact you'd have to use aloe vera is kind of like a grief-stricken situation in itself because you burnt yourself. I don't really know. An almond is what promise? What? Amaranthus for immortality. Ooh. Ambrosia. I don't know. There are so many flowers beginning with A. Anemone, forsaken, sickness, anticipation, undying love, eternal peace. And it's a thing of flower language. A lot of flowers tend to have multiple meanings, all with different, sometimes with like contrasting, well, meanings, I suppose, in the first place, which sort of like, I don't know, kind of like leads you astray, doesn't it? What are you looking at, Fauna? Oh, it's probably something hanging from the ceiling. Oh no, it's a surfboard, it just didn't load in. What do you think about this, Fauna? A surfboard? Seems like a good way to bring home that summer feeling, though. Apple blossom. I wonder what flower best represents D. Haven't thought about that. Oh, bird of flower, paradise flower. This is a Strelitzia, or whatever it's called. Strelitzia. Liberty, magnificence. There we go, magnificence. Good perspective, joyfulness. When given by a man to a woman, from faithfulness to a man. What? Carnation. This is so many. Look at this carnation. Pink, a woman's love, a mother's love. I'll never forget you. Okay, that explains why you get it on Animal Crossing Mother's Day. Yellow, rejection, disdain, and disappointment. It's a bit sort of like a bit of a harsh words to give you flowers. What do those flowers do to deserve that sort of connotation? How do most of these flowers like even get that connotation in the first place? And it feels a little bit like sort of not ambiguous, but arbitrary. That's the word. Striped carnation is refusal. I've never seen a striped one. What? Oh, this reminds me of like some sort of Tumblr post ages ago, asking people who are like experts in flower languages, being like, what if I wanted to give like a really aggressive, like rude flower bouquet to someone? Like, because obviously you give flower language to, normally you do it for like good reasons, to represent like nice things. Like, and they asked us like, what if I wanted to give it to like my sworn enemy? What sort of flowers would I put in it? And I can't remember. Someone actually answered it, and it was very intriguing, is probably what I'd say. But alas, I cannot remember it off the top of my head, but maybe you can find it. Maybe you'll be like, oh, there we go. I didn't know Pascal could actually participate in these. As certainly a new discovery. I didn't mean to do this in my wetsuit either, but hey ho. We're committed now. Maybe we can try and find it. Hold on. I just closed a Hanakotaba tab. Okay, Tumblr, post, flower, language, enemy? I didn't really spell that very well. Tower post flower language enemy. Here we go. Is it here? Is it here? Oh, here we go. Such beautiful hatred. Flower shop alternate universe. Person A owns a flower shop. Person B comes storming in one day, slaps $20 on my counter saying, how do I passive aggressively say screw you, except for a bit more explicitly, in flower language? So you need a bouquet of geraniums, which apparently represents stupidity, foxgloves, insincerity. Maybe we should cross-reference these with Wikipedia to see if they're actually true. Meadowsweet, uselessness. Yellow carnations, you've disappointed me. Hey, okay, well that one is at least accurate because we saw that one already. Orange lilies, hatred. It'd be quite striking and full of loathing. Someone did a really nice picture of what the bouquet would look like. Looks very pretty, to be honest. I think even if it was a passive-aggressive sort of like flower language attack, I wouldn't be all too, you know, hurt by it. I'm like, that looks quite nice. Okay, so germanium. Does that actually represent stupidity? Gentility and determination. Well, Wikipedia disagrees, and we all know that Wikipedia is... Well, actually, honestly, people always used to say, like the teachers used to say when you're younger, being like, oh, you can't trust Wikipedia as a source or whatever. You're meant to go to the source of Wikipedia. But nowadays, Wikipedia is pretty accurate a lot of times, isn't it? You know? I'm sure if you try to make, like, literally any change to Wikipedia, it'll probably be caught in, like, less than a minute or something and reverted. If it had no basis, of course. I don't really know, but it doesn't mean that everything in Wikipedia is, of course, correct. Foxglove, insincerity. That's a bit of a shame. I actually quite like foxgloves. Insecurity. Okay, I'd say that's close enough. I think foxgloves are really pretty flowers, to be honest, but... Meadowsweet, uselessness. Meadowsweet. Beauty, happiness, peace, and protection. Well, okay, maybe you could really twist that protection meaning and sort of uselessness, being like, I can't believe I had to protect you all the time. You know, you're so useless. Ooh. But Bell Rock. Which, unfortunately, I don't think we're going to be able to get all of the things. Oh, I missed it on the last one. Yellow carnations, we know. You disappointed me. Orange lilies, Hatred. Oh, wait, I should be looking under lilies, not orange. Desire, passion, hatred. Desire and hatred. There's a bit of a love-hate thing there. Honestly, this person was pretty accurate, you know. Sometimes you've got to be careful with things you read on the internet. If, you know, someone says it with enough confidence, it's very easy, to, I suppose, to get swayed into a thing, being like, oh yeah, that seems about right. Always check your sources, I suppose. That's honestly pretty funny, though. Flower language. There's another post on Tumblr about flower language, let's see. Like, we all mean generic things like love or forever, I'm sorry. I thought you could combine flowers. Send someone a bouquet, and from a combination of hibiscus and posies and tulips, they'd understand the rebel leader is dead. What? No. I saw this and got so excited. My obscure knowledge base might have some... Is this the same person who answered this question? No, it's not. It's a different person. Oh, did it say we can't change because we got a wetsuit on? Let's see. I had to stretch a few flowers, so to speak, but Victorian flower language allows for alteration in meaning depending on colour, fruit, flower bud, stem, maybe, leaves and thorns. What? Oh, so this person actually basically constructed their entire sentence in flower language. Interesting. Well, you know, flower arranging has quite a large step to it, and the fact that even there's an entire separate Wikipedia article just for Japanese flower language is impressive in its own right. Do you think it got the same meaning? Hold on, carnations. Let's see if we can find orange carnations in here. Do you think they also... Oh, sorry, yellow. No, there's only normal carnations on here. Carnation. That's what it is in Japanese, just what you want to know. Lucky. 4-leaf clover, makes sense. Dahlia, good taste. Edelweiss, solitude. Forget me not, true love. Wasuru Nagusa. I think that means like literally like flowers you're not meant to forget or something, right? Wasure. Wasure is to forget. I don't know what Nagusa means. But it's got like the word for like grass in it. I'm about to forget. Wait, what is this? I don't know what this means by itself. In Japanese that is. Don't forget flowers. They're actually just called forget-me-nots in Japanese. That's pretty cool. I wonder how he's got named then. Like, have we got the same language in... same name in like different languages as well. Wild. Anyway, I'm going to round off this episode here. So, I don't know, flower language, plant symbolism. I guess that's kind of what we talked about. So, if you have been watching, thank you very much. It's been Animal Crossing New Horizons. I've been Dear Darling. Any likes, comments, subscription, shares are greatly appreciated. Join my Dear Darling Discord. Follow me on Twitter down below. Hope to see each other again. But for now, it's our farewell. So, until next time, bye-bye for now.